Sometimes you think that burnout is a sign that I need to quit it, but burnout for me has been a sign of like I need boundaries, I need to change the way that I'm doing it, or I need to make sure that I have breaks in between.
And I think for me, it was all of that. I need breaks in between. This is not your God.
Yeah.
Put this down, like release this, surrender this. And then the boundaries in place. Like, actually, it's 5:00. We don't need to continue to do this, you know? And I think too, when you get so caught up in the results and wanting everything to be okay, you then begin to jeopardize or compromise yourself in it because you want to please, like we talked about, others of the world. And then that's when it was like, once I got free from that, I was like, okay, I'm not doing it this way anymore.
What's up, family? This is your girl, Sarah Jakes Roberts, and you are listening to the Woman Evolve podcast. What's up with you? What's going on in your world? How are you feeling? Are your kids out of school? My kids are out of school. I'm sitting at the house. Of course, by the time you're listening to this, I am probably sitting at the house propped up with a neck brace, but I'm still making sure them kids are getting where they need to be during this summer. You understand what I'm saying? You know, we thank God for older siblings with gas money who can tote and float these children to some activities during the summer break. I am not sure what's happening with me right now, to be truthful and honest. So I'll just wait. Hopefully I'll have an update for you. I do know this because I am recording as many as possible before I head into surgery, that I am hoping that by now my recovery has been a breeze. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to tell you how I am. I'm going to tell you how I hope I am. I am praying that the recovery has been smoother than anyone anticipated, that I am sleeping well, that my vocal cords are working properly, and that I have managed to get ice cream and french fries as many times as I wanted. We'll come back and figure out whether or not this was true, but that is my prayer for me. That is what I am hoping is happening in my business, but I want to know what's happening in your world, because by the time you hear this, I'll be able to look in the comments and see what's happening with you. So update me. What's going on in your world? What are you learning about God in this season of your life? What are you learning about yourself in this season of this life? Put us on game. We want to know. Drop a comment below. I'm going to mind your business. I got this question that I think is really going to be something worth marinating on. Let's dive into it.
Hello, my name is Lauren Fulton, and first I just have to take like 10 seconds to not cry while I tell you how powerful and special of a sister in Christ you are to me. I'm so grateful to have been able to have heard many of your sermons. You truly are a beautiful spokesperson for our Lord and Savior. Okay, so 2 questions, I guess. I am in a relationship, as most of us are, right? And it is, I don't know how to put it. Let me make this short and sweet. Anyone else and everyone else tells me I shouldn't be with this person because they have nothing to offer me. He doesn't work. He doesn't have the greatest habits. And yet we separated. I got myself clean and, got myself jobs, re-established my relationship with the Lord, and he resurfaced into my life. Now I'm with him, and I don't know if I'm supposed to leave him or if I'm supposed to stay. So I guess I would ask you directly, when everything is telling you to walk away from something, but you feel deep down in your soul that you can help them, am I lying to myself? Is it God telling me to stick around? Or is it me justifying what I truly want? Okay, have a blessed day. Thank you so much. Bye.
You know what I think makes this question so unique is that so often we wonder, as it relates to the desires in my heart, how do I know what's God and what's me? How can I tell whether or not I am hanging on to my will and my desire or God's? And so my first piece of advice for you in this scenario is to find a way to become completely at peace with whatever outcome is possible. So as it relates to you in this relationship in particular, I want to be specific. I want you to walk out what it means to leave this relationship alone, what it means to leave him alone, to not be the one who's helping him, to not be the one who's cheering him on and supporting him. And find a way to get to a place of peace about that being the walk that you need to take. Also, it sounds like you're already at a place of wanting to hang on, but what would it look like for me to have peace to stay in it? It's only until we can be completely detached from either outcome that we can honestly hear from God. When we are praying to God, but we really only have one outcome in mind, it does skew our perspective. But to get to a place where we really, really can say, nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done, that is the ultimate place of sacrifice and surrender, where we know that God can really reveal to us truth. I was thinking about this earlier, even as it relates to surgery, because I've been going back and forth about whether or not I might actually show up to get it done. And I guess we finna see if I show up to get it done, because anyways. But I was thinking about, one, how I don't have to want to go through this in order to go through it. Jesus had a moment where he didn't want to go to the cross, where he said, let this cup pass from me. I don't want to drink this cup of sin. I don't want to have to get on the cross and live my life out this way. This isn't what I want to go through. But you know what else it says? As much as it is comforting to know that Jesus was in a situation where he felt that very same reluctance about having to walk through something, that scene is set in the Garden of Gethsemane, where ultimately he begins to pray until he get to a place where he was at peace with the road he must take. My goal is to get you to a place where you are in a place of such prayer. Even it was hard prayer. They said beads of sweat, almost like blood, were pouring out of Jesus. And that's how intensely he was praying and wrestling himself down to get to this place of surrender. I want you to be willing to lay it all down on the altar and say, God, if this isn't your path for me, if you don't want me to be in this person's life, if you don't want me to be the one who's helping to bring out what you see in him, then I'm going to lay this down completely. And it's going to hurt because I believe in him. And it's going to be difficult because I believe that I can add value to his life. But if it's not what you want, I don't want it either. And grieve that and let it cry and sweat and let it break your heart. So then when you begin to pray, you can honestly hear from God, and God can strengthen you for whatever your next is. The Lord may say you do need to walk away. The Lord may say, you know what? Stick in it for a little while longer, and I'll give you strength and strategy for that. But we can't hear from God while also holding on to what it is that we really want. And so then what does it mean for me to hear from God? To begin to ask the Lord, once you've really wrestled that part of it down, where you've allowed the Lord and the Holy Spirit to pry it from your hands, to begin to ask the Lord to allow me to see you in this situation. A lot of times when we are used to serving other people and we're used to our identity being connected to the support and help and development of another person, of course we can look at someone and see how we can add value to them, because that's what we do in every relationship we're in. But the question that then becomes, if this is a relationship, not a project, can this person pour back into me? How do they develop what you're doing in my life, God? How do they make me stronger? And sometimes their strength, they can't strengthen you in the same areas that you can strengthen them. That's okay, but you are able to be strengthened. And so, Lord, allow me to be someone who doesn't just love the way that you love, but who can also receive your love in return. And how do I receive your love from this person? I believe that relationships that are divinely orchestrated allow us to see God in the other person and the way that they show up for us, and allow us to become more like Jesus in the way that we have to show up for them as well. But it's reciprocal in relationships, in intimate relationship like the one you're talking about. In other dynamics, it's not always reciprocal. It's not always balanced. It's not always equal. But in a romantic partnership where two become one, that reciprocity allows for a oneness, because we're able to bring strength in an area where the other person may have had a weakness. And so examine that delivery that you bring to the table, but also the offering that that person is bringing to you, and weigh it from there. I hope that's helpful. Take everything I say to the Lord in prayer. I always say this, test it, and the Lord will speak to you. You know the Lord. This episode of Woman Evolve is brought to you by Alloy Health. I think one of the most frustrating things about being a woman is realizing how many changes to our bodies that nobody prepares us for. And for so many women navigating menopause or perimenopause, they're dealing with things like hot flashes, brain fog, trouble sleeping, hormonal changes, without even knowing that support is available. That's why I want to tell y'all about Alloy. Alloy connects women with menopause specialized physicians online who create personalized treatment plans tailored to your needs. Everything is done from home and treatments are delivered straight to your door. Let me break it down for you. You'll need to complete an intake form and patient verification. Then you'll be matched with a menopause specialized physician who will create a personalized treatment plan tailored to your needs. Once you are approved, Alloy ships your prescription directly to your door with automatic refills. What I really appreciate is that Alloy is helping women feel informed, supported, and seen during a season that so many people struggle through silently. So, if you or someone you love is navigating menopause, check out Alloy and learn more about your options today. I cannot recommend Alloy enough. Join the 95% of women who tried Alloy and saw relief in the first 2 weeks. Head to myalloy.com and use the code EVOLVE and tell them all about your symptoms, and you'll get a fully customized treatment plan and unlimited messaging with your doctor. Plus, you'll get $20 off your first order today. Head to myalloy.com. That's myalloy.com. and use code EVOLVE to get $20 off your first order. I remember growing up, we had a nanny who was mixed with black and white, and she was trying to do our hair. And she told us that if we were going to slick it back in a ponytail, or slick it back is crazy because our hair wasn't doing any slicking. But if we were going to put it in a ponytail, she was like, wet the brush and then put the brush on your hair. And while I know for a shadow of a doubt that it worked for her hair, I saw her do it. It did nothing for my hair or my sister's hair. One of the things that I've had to learn over the years is that everybody's advice is not meant for your hair. I used to think that if something worked for somebody else, it should also work for me too. But textured hair needs intention, it needs moisture, and the right ingredients. That's why I've been loving Bask and Lather. Their hydrating hair mist keeps my hair soft and moisturized without feeling heavy, and their stimulating scalp and hair balm helps nourish my scalp while supporting healthier, stronger hair over time. And I love that the ingredients are natural and non-greasy. Just look at the results. They speak for themselves. Come on. What makes me love them even more is that they're Black-owned and family-operated, created out of a real story and real care. So if you're tired of one-size-fits-all hair routines, maybe it's time for you to find something that actually works for you. Check out Bask and Lather. Explore viral bestsellers and products of healthier hair of all types from Bask and Lather. Go to baskandlatherco.com and use code EVOLVE for 20% off. That's 20% off at baskandlatherco.com, code EVOLVE. One thing for sure is I don't believe that there is a conversation more fitting about what it means to listen to the voice of God, even when the stakes are high, when relationships are at stake, and yet still continuing in obedience, like the one that I am about to have with Natalie Manuel Lee. She has a passion for discovering and unearthing the defining stories that have shaped people's lives. She has her own podcast in which she is able to have conversations with influencers, thought leaders, artists who are out here trailblazing in their own ways. But it is because of her unique personality with her driven sense of purpose that she is able to bring out transparency, vulnerability, and inspiration that can apply to anyone, no matter what walk of life they're in. Natalie has created a platform that bridges the gap between culture and inspiration with a sense of honest conversations, and the icons that she has spoken to, you end up feeling closer to them and like they're more like friends. She premiered her own docuseries, Now with Natalie, on the Hillsong channel in early 2019, and from there, it just has continued to grow and develop. season 4 is available on YouTube now. So after you finish listening to Natalie's podcast with me, you're going to want to know more and more about her and her walk with the Lord. So head on over to her YouTube channel, subscribe, make sure that you stay plugged in. She has so many incredible conversations that I know are going to be a blessing to you and anyone who listens. So let's get into this week's episode. So, you know, our phrase for this year is going rogue. I don't know if you know this or not.
Okay.
And whenever anyone hears it, there's like either they instantly get it or they need a little explanation. So I'm going to give you an explanation.
I'm going to need that explanation.
Okay, so you think about Romans 12, 1 and 2. Okay. We're not being conformed to this world. We're being transformed.
Yep.
And yet the reality is that in many ways we have experienced confirmation. We are conformed sometimes by our fears, by our insecurities, and we find ourselves in this misshaped version of who we are. And so we're encouraging women to go rogue, to break out of that, to do something different than what is expected or their norm. And so I'm wondering, when you think about your life and this season of your life, in what way are you or should you be going rogue?
Great question.
Thank you.
I think for me in this season, I think as we all know, a lot of us want to go culture's way.
Yeah.
And for me, going road is going kingdom's way.
Yeah.
And understanding what that looks like and what that means. Knowing that, so for right now, I'm preparing for the next season of Now with Natalie. I'm writing a book, doing a lot of internal and healing work. So with that, I think there is this proclivity and propensity for our culture to want to do things the way that culture does things. But in order for us to be obedient and to do the things that God has called me to do, I have to go kingdom's way.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, that's what going rogue would be for me.
I totally align with that definition.
Right?
Do you feel that like the kingdom way is different than even like, I want to say this properly, but like, I think that there's this idea of like the church way of doing things.
Yeah.
But when I think about your life, you live at this intersection of kingdom and culture. And I think that you almost stand there with this sign pointing people towards the path of kingdom. But in order to do that, you have to navigate those different spirits and expectations and events and opportunities. And so what does that look like for you in practice? Like, how do you know what's bait that can exist within the culture to get people to the kingdom versus what's compromise?
I think the fruit of what I may feel in that moment. If I feel peace about a decision or a situation, I know that is the way I need to go. But if I feel the bait and there's anxiety and there's a little bit of fear, not nerves necessarily, but maybe a little bit of like weight, then I would know that that's bait. But I think for me, I know that if I'm in a space of peace, making sure that I can trust God in what he's called me to do. And so a lot of times it's like, if I don't have the peace of God, how do I have peace with God? And so for me, if I don't have peace with a decision that I'm making, if it's a partnership for a brand deal, or if it's a guest that I want to have them on my show, or if it's a topic that I want to talk about, I know that I have to follow the path of peace. And when I feel a little bit of more anxious or a little bit more fear, and I think like, oh, wait, they're doing it this way, this is culture's way, I know that in order for us to be an alternative to the world, we have to be different. In order for me to be able to make an impact, an eternal impact on the world, I have to be an alternative to the world. And so for me, it's going to be, I take the lonely road. It is lonely. It is ghetto. It is not fun. It is not easy. Talk about the pressing and the crushing, and knowing that the process that I'm going through, I have to know and hear clearly, okay, this is what God's calling me to do. Even though I want to book that guest, or I want to have that brand partnership, or I want to do this, but that's culture's way. I know that if I go outside of God's will to get what I want, I have to stay outside of his will to keep it.
Oof. A bar was dropped.
Girl. So that is how I follow the path, because I'm afraid to be outside of the will of God. I'm afraid to, because I've done it before, and each way is a cost. You know, saying yes to the call on your life, there's a cost there. Going outside of God's will, there's a cost. So which cost do you want to pay? I want to pay this cost because I know the fruit of that cost. Even though the bait looks good, the bait feels good, it's very alluring, it's what the world is saying, but if I go over there, I'm gonna have to stay over there to keep it. But if I go his way, I know that it's a longer path, but I know that I'm in alignment.
So, I mean, I feel like you're like answering this question in the process of me asking it, but I'm going to ask anyway. How do you deal with the fear of missing out?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Girl, I used to be her, where I didn't want to miss out, where I was a people pleaser, where I wanted to be everywhere and do everything that everybody was doing. But when I realized that it started to cost me, it started to cost my capacity. It started to cost me just even purpose of being home with my daughter, Mae Jones. It started to cost me being the wife that I needed to be. For me, the people pleasing started to dissipate once I realized, and the fear of missing out, once I realized and anchored in my identity in him, the fear of missing out for me now is like, I want to be invited, but I'm not going.
Yeah.
I can't go. I'm not going. I'm tired. I got to do X, Y, and Z. But I know there was a time and place where I didn't miss out because I wanted to be at everything. But I thought that me being at everything and showing up at everything was a validation on who I was and where I needed to be and how people saw me because I wanted to please man and not God.
Okay, so I am kind of struck by not just you, but like your whole family.
Aww.
You know, it's not just that you all are who you are. It's that you all have maintained your reverence in the midst of your success. Can you tell me about like growing up in your household? What type of, because there's, my father always talks about like something's in the soup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was something in the soup.
Something in the soup. What was in the soup at the Manuel household?
What was happening over there?
Child, my mama just staying honest.
Yeah.
So my dad was a professional athlete. So he was a baseball player. So I was born into this. I was born into limelight. I was born into cameras, lights, microphones. And so they were people who were very, very much anchored in purpose. And so for us, that's all that we knew was that, yes, dad is who dad is. Dad is outside working, doing his job. My mom was home and was instilling us in the word. You know, this is the greatest among us serve. The gift that God has given you, you are used to use it to serve people. And so honestly, I don't know any other way. If I'm being honest with you, I was born into this. I don't know what life would look like if I wasn't on the other side. But I know that nothing is wasted, and understanding, like looking back then on the crumbs and like the seeds that she planted in our life, as well as my dad, is why we are all where we are today. And my dad being a successful baseball player, coach, him being in the limelight and seeing how he carried himself, that was very inspirational. So my dad was someone that, you know, was a coach, but also was mentoring the players at the same time. Mm-hmm. My mom was doing private Bible studies with the wives. And so that's all I knew. And so, you know, naturally for me, I do private Bible studies. You know what I mean? I serve with the gift that God has given us. And so I believe wholeheartedly, unequivocally so, we are all where we are because of the seeds that they have planted in our lives.
Do you feel like you ever went through a season where you were like, you know, I'm trying on their faith, their religion, but it's not quite mine yet? Like, was there ever a season, or was it always just innate for you?
I think that's a great question. I think I did not fully, I mean, we know him, right? So it's like growing up, just like even with your dad, you know that you hear it, but I didn't start to truly experience who God was until I moved to LA, which was about 20 years ago, when I realized like, oh, I got to do this on my own.
Yeah.
I got to figure all this out on my own. I can't lean on my worldly father. I have to learn how to really lean on my heavenly father. What does this mean? What does this look like? Because for me, growing up, even in college days, like I still had my parents, you know what I mean? I still had them to lean on to. And so I would say I wasn't necessarily putting on their faith. I think I was just going with the flow of what that was. But then once I came out here, I was like, oh, I got to figure this out. I have to really know and walk boldly into what I feel like he's calling me to. And that was a lonely road. You know, it was a lonely, pressing road. But that's when I feel like my relationship with the Father grew more intimately than ever when I was fully on my own.
How does someone cultivate their own like personal relationship with God?
For me, spending time, like truly knowing who he is. I mean, be still and know that I am God. You have to be still. And then you begin to know. It's just like friendship. You spend time with them. That's how you get to know them. You understand the character of them. You understand the equity of them. So for me, sure, there's seasons all the time where I'm like, oh my God, is God going to show up? But I know who he is. I remember the equity of God. So for me, when I moved out here, all I did, you know, when there was moments of not wanting to miss out or whatever, it's like, let me go in my prayer closet, or let me sit in here and just soak in his presence and hear worship. But it still was a process, and it still is. I mean, I definitely feel like we are homies 1000%. That is my ace boo coon, but it's still, we will, you know, we get to know him until we go to heaven.
There have been so many different like versions of your life that you have experienced. You know, so like you and God go together real bad because you and God been to a lot of places. Do you want to talk about like all of the different steps your journey has taken?
Yeah. So when I moved to LA, I went to school for communications. Studied that for a little bit, journalism. And then when I when I graduated, I went to New York and had a internship at CBS Sports and Extra TV. So I knew there was some type of communication journalism, what that was going to look like. Then from there, I moved to LA and I started styling with my brother, Jerry Lorenzo. We were styling videos before he was even Fear of God. So I was styling with him and we were just both in the fashion industry. And then from there, he started building Fear of God and I went along with him. And then fast forward 4 or 5 years later, this was a ghetto transition. I knew God was calling me out of there, but it was such a hard decision to make because I wanted to continue to build this brand with my brother, but I knew God was calling me elsewhere.
First of all, okay, can we, before you just like skip on to the next step, I feel like we should unpack that a little bit.
Let's unpack it.
Okay, so you're working with family.
Yep. Yes. We working with family, girl.
You know, and all of the beauty and complexity that comes with that.
The beauty and the nuances.
Yes. All right.
It was, and it's so funny because when he asked me, I'll never forget when he asked me, I was in my apartment, or I was in my friend's apartment, and I read the text, and I heard so clearly, go and help pick up your brother's cross with him. Mm-hmm. So it was a space and a posture of service for me. So there was no ego, there was no pride. So right when I was like, okay, then I will say yes. I knew going into that building, I knew coming alongside him, I was there to serve. And so it wasn't as complex or nuanced as it may seem because I made sure I stayed in position. Because there were moments where it's like, Jerry, but it's like, oh, okay, that's still your boss, that's your brother, there's respect there, there's love there. But then also, I had a job to do as well. Not only just help him push along this brand, but be his sister. Yeah. Be his eyes and ears, see what's happening in the culture, in the office, etc. And so I think I was apprehensive at first because I didn't want our relationship, for it to go any friction or any tension, but there wasn't until it was time for me to go.
I was going to say, because there's this idea of like loyalty to your family, whether
girl.
Okay. Loyalty to the family versus loyalty to your call and your purpose. And this is like a universal experience. It doesn't matter if you're like a PK like I have been or your brother's building a brand like yours. I think that there is this moment whether we're going to continue to be loyal to the way they communicate, loyal to the way that they heal or don't heal versus charting your own path. Can we talk about that sense of betrayal that can come when you say, you may be what I know, you may be who I have been shaped around and who I love, but in this season of my life, I have to do something different.
Yeah.
it can be really hard.
And that's honestly why it helped me to like fully uproot this root of people pleasing. Because I wanted to please him. I wanted to make sure that it was okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that, are you okay? And not even realizing, as I was like digging deeper into this people pleasing, like why I'm this way, I left a lot of my rejection wounds unattended. So I was pulling from a place of rejection. I was being led by my wounds as opposed to my discernment in those relationships. But then when it came to him and leaving, I knew I couldn't afford to stay any longer. It had nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
It had everything to do with what God was asking me to do, but also because I did some of that personal work prior, it was like, okay, even though this is really tricky and this is really hard and I want to stay with you and I want to please you, I can't, because I'll then betray, like you said, myself. And I wasn't used to putting myself first. I wasn't used to saying yes to me before I would say yes to everybody else. And so I think it was a tricky transition, not because I was clear. It was more of like, I knew that he may feel some type of way, but then literally probably, I think after we launched season 1 of Now with Natalie, he's like, oh, I get it. I understand now. I get it. And now he's like my biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
But it is that tension and that nuance of wanting to honor what you know, but then also honoring where God is really calling you to go and be.
It's kind of wild when you're from a close-knit family.
And we're also like this.
You seem like it. Of course, I don't know a lot of you like personally, but just from what I see on social media, you're very close-knit.
Yes.
And I think there's a different dynamic when the family maybe doesn't have as close of a relationship. But when you are known as a unit, it can be difficult for you to find your own individuality and to not feel like you're betraying the family. And I feel like so much of what people experience when they have like enmeshment within families, a part of them suffers. Like I feel like in many ways, me getting pregnant as a teenager, like it gave me a distinction. It gave me my own identity. Now I had to work through, you know, what's healthy, what's not. But I think there was a separation that I got to have that a lot of my siblings didn't get to have. And so they had to kind of find themselves in a course that was just as difficult as a teen pregnancy, but just in a different way.
Yeah. And I think for me too, naturally, I'm the youngest of 4.
Okay.
So when you're the youngest, you're always everybody's cheerleader. You're always picking up after what everybody else is doing. You're also looking at them to essentially lead you and follow their path. But I think that moment was definitely like what you're saying. It's like separating, like we are all so close. But even doing like the personal work and healing and understanding generational curses and generational patterns and family patterns. And there's certain things about my family that is absolutely amazing. And then there's other stuff that is toxic.
Child, mine too.
Girl.
Child, mine too. Okay. For all of these scriptures.
For everybody. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. People
Let's
be thinking
keep it 100.
Like, I would have just been raised in this household all my life. You would have been a little messed up still.
And we all are. Even the family that we're both probably individually raising. It's like there's nobody is exempt.
Yeah.
But that's the truth. And I want people to know, like, I get it. Our family is a forward-facing family. We're this, blah, blah, blah. But no, we go through it too. Yeah. We go through it.
Do you ever wonder as a parent, like, I wonder how I'm messing this kid up? Like, I'm doing everything.
Why did I think about that 2 days ago? I had a little mom breakdown a little bit.
I wonder how I'm messing. Oh, you did? You went rogue? Let's talk about it. No, because I have a story to tell.
Girl, she was just,
it's too much.
It's a lot.
Calm down.
Calm.
Please.
Calm down.
I'm a person.
I'm right here.
Chill.
Be quiet.
Stop. No,
I'm not available. I'm not here.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me. If I could tell these kids what is on the inside of my soul, what do you want from me?
Dude,
I gotta feed you. I gotta be nice to you. I gotta be patient. I gotta do all. I gotta
blow
sign permissions. I gotta do homework. Leave me alone.
Your lunch.
Stand up by yourself.
Exactly.
Be a strong, independent.
Put on your pajamas. You can put on your pajamas.
You can do and put on some lotion. Why you want to walk around ashy?
Sarah.
And why do I have to tell you to put on lotion every day?
Yeah.
It's the the same thing I told you to do yesterday.
Sarah.
I am tired of it.
Sarah.
Y'all need to grow up.
Get it together.
No, I'm not playing.
Literally, I'm like over here, like, wait, God, please. Like, and it's so funny if I'm being super transparent. Like, there's just patterns that my patience,
Yeah.
I need to really, Father God, I need help with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, you heard me.
Yeah.
I just asked, can you put on your shoes?
I'm not.
One more time.
I'm tired
so
of
my
it.
nervous system, you already know, it's right here.
All the time.
So then if it, all the time.
And then here's the thing, and this is what we have to work on, because like in the world, right? Like not at home, but like in the world, when you know that somebody plays with you, the moment they hit the door, you just kind of go on defense because you like, I already know that you play with me, so I'm gonna be on guard. But when that person live in your house
Sarah.
and they knocking on that door and then your kid, it's like, you like to play in my face, but my nervous system, I had to bring this down because I be ready. What's up?
Sit down.
I'm not playing.
Now.
I'm not playing.
Girl.
Because you got me on fumes from yesterday.
And I barely had my quiet time this morning with the Lord. So you're about to get the flesh.
This morning, not ready for you.
No.
What are we going to do about it?
I'm looking at you. What we going to do? You tell me. What should we do?
Telling these kids, like, mommy's a person too.
I love that.
Mommy's a person too.
And it's so funny because growing up, I saw my parents as heroes.
Yeah.
And so until, probably I was like 20 years old and knowing like, oh, you guys are people too.
Yeah.
And so same with May Jones, my daughter. Yes, you're 5 years old, but I'm like, I only have this amount of capacity a day.
Yeah.
And, and I think too, for us, we're working moms.
Yeah.
So it looks a little bit differently than what it was a few generations ago.
For sure.
And so it's like we're trying to juggle what this actually is supposed to be. What is this supposed to look like? How many am I supposed to be patient in this moment? Am I not? Is it okay? Because when I just like sit down, like and then I did have a moment of like, okay, God, like I know
Probably wasn't ideal.
Probably wasn't the best thing. But she wasn't listening. What else do you want me to do? But I had to look into myself. Why am I that pissed?
Yeah.
Angry? Why is this taking me that far? What is it that I have to do differently so I can show up differently? And there's days where I show up and it's great. And then there's other days where it's like, here's your toothbrush.
Yeah.
You got it.
My daughter, my 10-year-old daughter is different so I've got a 16-year-old,
Yeah.
and then I have bonus daughters that were teenagers when we met. And so I am amazed at how different my 16-year-old daughter is from my 10-year-old daughter.
Okay, how? What's the difference?
Well, now I was a different parent for both of them, right?
Right,
So
sure.
for the 16-year-old, I was a single mother for the beginning stages of her life, but she remembers that. And so I think that there was probably this sense of like, take it easy on mom, right? Because she's got a lot on her plate, and her little brother or her older brother's probably giving her that knowledge, like, and he was there. My 10-year-old, she doesn't want to take it easy on me at all.
That's May Jones, I feel. Do you feel like she's mostly like you?
She is like her father. She's very demanding, and she wants what she wants when she wants it. Last night, I guess she woke up in the middle of the night. She had a scare dream. My phone's on silent. His phone's on silent. So she starts hitting the Find My iPhone alert to wake me up at 1:30 in the morning.
This is a few hours ago. Well, you look great. You look great.
A very few hours ago. But she means now, like when I call you.
Yeah.
And I'm just not used to a child being that demanding.
So how do you respond to it?
I'm tired of it.
Me too.
I have to talk to her. Like everything is a negotiation, or like something that has to be unpacked and explained. And I feel the only way that I could break out of that, and this is where I don't have tools, is to like talk crazy to her. And so because I don't want to talk crazy to her, here I am trying to explain to her that like mom really does have a job, and I really do and I am not here for your beck and call. So like, I am hopeful that in me explaining things to her, that I am teaching her communication skills and that she is in some way getting it. Right. But the mental Olympics of raising children.
and I only have one. And what it is too, and I even said this to her, and Brian, my husband, Brian's like, she don't get that. I was like, why is it always a fight with you? Because it's this tug and pull. Why am I fighting with you?
Yeah.
Why are you not just saying, okay, yes, Mom? But then my mom was like, well, what did you expect? That's what you were like.
And I rebuke that.
I thought that I worked through those things and that they didn't get passed down.
Natalie, I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, help me, Sarah. Help us.
I had my first child at 14 years old.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, he was the easiest child that I've had to raise. And I raised him as a teenager.
Really?
I think God was like, you're already going through a lot. I'm not going to give you what I have in store for you.
Do you think it's the difference between the time we're living in? Like that, what's the access to what's on their fingertips? Or are they just not, I'm trying to find it.
I got in trouble when I was a child because, we may have to edit this story, but I'm going to go with it anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking about this idea of, your your mother telling you that, what you're actually just getting the harvest of what you sowed into her life. But, I had a nanny at the time, and someone told me, I was always in grown folks' business, always.
Yeah.
And someone told me that her and her husband couldn't have children, that something happened to him. Now, Natalie, okay, just stick with me and don't judge me. And this may need to be edited.
Tell me.
So, I was 8 years old, and she had said something to me that I didn't like. And mind you, I was an angry kid, right? My parents weren't around.
Yep.
They weren't as present as they wanted to be. And so I was probably upset that she was even there. And she said something to me, and I didn't like it. So I was back in my journal in the back of her car scribbling. So she knew I was lighting her up. I didn't say it to her, but baby, me and that, I catch her in that rearview mirror.
Right. I already know.
And she went into my journal.
But at least she went into the journal.
She did. And I had put some things in there.
And then what happened?
I cannot believe that I am saying this. Like, even if it never makes it to YouTube, the fact that I'm about to say this in front of you all. Let me tell you. So I wrote in my journal some things about what I knew about her life. Now, mind you, I'm like 9 years old. They told me she can't have kids. I don't know what that means. I'm thinking her husband doesn't have private parts. So now I'm back in my journal writing about
Sarah.
And that's why he ain't got no That's
why he ain't got that. But look, I don't think is that bad? Like, you're human. That was a moment.
But I look at my daughter now and I'm like, why do you act the way that you do? And I literally just text because they didn't whoop me. So, because she went in my journal and she told them and then so my parents called me down into the room and they was like, can you explain this?
What did you do? You remember?
They told me she had no, and then I was like, and then it was just my personal journal. Right. I can't believe she went in my journal.
But low key, that's on her. She shouldn't have went through your journal.
That's my personal.
Actually, good on you that you didn't cuss her out face to face.
Right.
It was in the journal.
Exactly. But yeah, so I am definitely reaping that because my daughter has a level of expression that is beyond what is necessary. And so no matter how many generational curses we break before raising these children or while raising them, genetically there must be something that we're maybe breaking the generational curse is less about keeping it from ever getting on them, but breaking it so that they know how to get it off of them.
Ooh, that was good. I needed that right now.
Because sometimes we're like, Sarah, I want to break it so that they never have to experience it. But maybe breaking it is teaching them how to dismantle it.
That's really good. And I think that's probably what I need to just keep that focus. Because I'm thinking in my head, like, her mouth is wild.
It's crazy.
But then it's also, I'm so grateful that I don't have to shape this boldness and this courage. Like, I'm so grateful you're very bold, you're courageous. Now I just have to shape you. I don't have to teach you how to use your voice because you know how to use your voice.
Right.
But I need you to know when to speak and when not to speak.
Yeah.
And,
I think teaching them the art of apology, unfortunately, through those moments where we end up like spazzing out or saying too much or saying it too harshly to say, hey, I was tired. Hey, I was this. I meant what I said, but I could have said it differently. Did your parents ever apologize to you?
My mom did. My dad was pretty, because he was on the road a lot. So there was never for him to really, my mom was the one that was in our butts. Like, she was the one that was like, so she definitely did. I can't remember, like, was there moments, but even to this day now, she's very much like, I only knew what I knew.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better. And I think for us now, as we know, like, we have tools that are at our fingertips that help us to be aware.
Yeah.
And for them, no excuse. They didn't necessarily have that. But she definitely nucked if you buck, though. And it was very like, oh God, like, even my brothers and my sister, when we know that my mom was about to bring the belt, we would put stuff.
Period. Yeah, because you're not about to just, no, I'm going to have a little cushion.
Because we
multiple
know.
pairs of pants and panties.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I was having this conversation because I grew up in a household where you would get whooped.
Yes.
And so when I was raising some of my children in my earlier ages, I was like, you could get whooped.
Yes.
For anything.
Yes.
And I think that as I've become more awakened, that I'm trying to use like better tools for raising them beyond just giving them whoopings and talking.
Because if I think about it, looking back, I don't know if the whoopings didn't bother me. I don't think that
I don't know if it affected me.
Nothing. No, it didn't. It wasn't. It was, But even with her, she's really sensitive, and so she will get a little. But then there are moments where it's like, if I know I'm hot, let me just walk away.
I popped Ella once, and she told me queens don't whoop their children. With tears streaming down.
No, she didn't. That's a 10-year-old one. She lights you up.
Oh no, she
Sarah.
said queens don't whoop they. Mind you, she got tears streaming down her face. She said, "You're not a queen." She took my crown. She said, "I may got this whooping, but you don't have a crown." She said, "Queens don't whoop their children." I said,
Sarah.
"This one did. It's all I had. I was down to nothing."
Exactly. That's all I had. Crying to go. Thank you for making me feel seen.
Yeah, isn't that so? We're in it together.
We're in it together.
You're not strong personalities. They're going to need it for the world we live in.
For sure.
And we can survive this.
Yes, we
can do hard things.
But it definitely takes me out.
Yeah.
It takes me out. But thank you, God. What a gift she is to me.
Yeah.
What a gift. What an honor it is to be able to be entrusted with her.
Yeah.
And so I think that too, I can feel there's moments where when I get frustrated, like I see who she is and knowing like this is my responsibility to raise her the way that I know how to raise her. Even though I'm ready to nuck a few bucks.
I will say, even though Ella be taking me, I am the only person she ever wants to be with.
See?
Ever.
But also they say that it's the safeness that they feel.
She told me I'm her emotional support.
So that's
she said,
why
I won't call you an animal, but you are my emotional support.
Right.
The only person she ever wants to be with.
Yeah.
Like, even with me taking time away, any of the other kids would be like, Mom, you work so hard. Ella's going to be like, Mom, she will fall asleep on FaceTime with me. She said it makes her feel safe. Like, she only wants to be with me. And that's how you know it's toxic.
Exactly.
She do like me, though.
So toxic, girl. Because I even had to ask her doctor. She was like, yeah, no. She goes, the reason why she acts so out with you, she feels safe. And it's like, okay, because even at school, she's great at school.
That's what she's so nice. Ella's so nice to her father. She never gives him any lip. She never is frustrated, nothing. But me, she'd be like, oh, listen.
Right, exactly.
Okay, that was, we went on a journey
we went on a journey there.
Oh, but we answered that question, period. Okay, you just turned 40. How do we feel about it?
I feel like I finally woke up.
Really? Everyone says this about 40s. I want to hear it. I'm going to be 38 this year. So.
You're going to be 30. Okay. I feel I can look down. You know when people are like fourth floor is activated, looking down at the third floor, the second floor, the first floor. You could see like just the different versions of me. And then getting here, I almost feel like, oh, I'm a woman now.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's how I feel. I feel like I woke up. I feel like there was a lot of stuff that was dormanted in me. And I feel fully confident in who I am now. And it's so interesting because even last year, the beginning of 39, I felt that, but I think even more so there's clarity that has emerged. But 40, it's different. And your body's different too, girl.
How?
Just
tell me about it.
I can't eat all the stuff I want to eat no more.
Because it finds its way back to you.
Finds its way back. Fatigue.
Okay.
I'm a little bit more tired now. You just got to do things differently. Like even when I work out, I'm a little bit more, exhausted than I would normally would be. But I love it here. like I said, I feel like I woke up. And I mean, I just turned 40 and a few months ago. But yeah.
I think a lot about even like perimenopause and stuff. And I'm just like, what are some of the things that I should be like?
They say brain fog, which I feel like I've had since Mae Jones was born.
Right.
I feel like I have brain fog every day.
And like everyone's tired.
Everyone's tired.
So
exhausted.
when will I know?
When will I? Tell me. Am I in it? I don't know. I'm always tired. I always have brain fog. I don't know.
No, when they start talking about fatigue, like whether it's your hormones or this, or like fatigue and exhaustion and brain fog, I'm like, that's like my baseline.
Yes.
Throw something heavy at me.
Same. But I don't know. Hopefully, I hopefully have a couple more years.
For sure.
Yeah.
But she's going to be gentle with you.
Yeah, hopefully.
When you think about who you are today, what parts of you feel like the most settled, and what parts do you think are still developing?
Most settled is probably, like I said, because just turning 40, my identity, probably most settled. I feel like I finally know who I am and why I'm here. Developing a girl, patience and control. I think my anxiety can take over sometimes.
Yeah.
Being able to distinguish between a lie and truth in my mind. I think those are the things that I could feel like it's a constant thorn in my side of like, oof, okay, switch out those thoughts, out those thoughts. So it's like in one instance, I'm aware of who I am. Then there's another instance where it's like, so I know that I need to continue to press in a little bit more on that.
Outside of like God and your husband, like who's your closest confidant?
Friend-wise? Besides God and my husband? My mom? Yeah. Truly. I think, just like we said, we've butt heads too, but that's my roll dog. That's someone that I know that will cover me day in and day out, will correct me, will cheer me on, will lead me in a way that I know that I need to be led. Yeah, I would say my mom.
It's funny. I was watching this scary movie, and in the movie, there's like this kid that's like demon possessed. I think he got like switched at birth or something.
Girl, what movie was that?
It's like it's Damien, something like that.
Oh.
Okay, but anyways, in the movie, no one believes the woman that there's something wrong with the kid. She's like, "This is not my kid. There's something wrong with him." Husband, doctors, everyone thinks they're crazy. And I was like, if I was ever in that situation, my mother would believe me the moment I said it.
Yeah.
The moment I said it, she would be looking at the kid sideways and trying to like cast it out. My mother is that for me as well.
Same.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, God. And we're so similar. And that's what my dad always calls us triplets. My daughter, me, and my mom were like pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Good and bad, all the different things.
So, okay. So she also, that's why she knows what's going on with your daughter. Because she was
exactly.
like,
she was like, that's why. Like, hello.
Okay, we're going to do some rapid fire.
Ooh, some rapid fire.
You ready? I want you to build your Mount Rushmore of fashion.
So what do you
like? Who would be like the 4 or 5 faces that you feel like are like the most iconic fashion people?
Sarah.
I know, right?
I feel offended. Well, people get offended if I'm just playing. I have to say my brother.
Okay.
Love Tracy Ellis Ross.
Yes.
Carla Welch, which is a stylist, and Tessa Thompson.
Okay. Oh, I feel like she's a sneak one, but she dresses. Yeah, she puts it on. What is the first thing you notice when meeting someone?
Their spirit.
Instantly.
Yeah, which could be good and bad, you know, because so probably their spirit for sure.
How do you navigate those moments where you're like, your spirit's off, but I still have to work with you, have to engage with you? How do you protect your spirit from those spirits?
I think just that, being able to discern what the spirit is and then go from there and know how to move. Like, or is it a spirit of deception, or is it a spirit of manipulation, or is it a gaslighting, or what is it? And so then maybe start tracking like, oh, are you that person? Are you that person? So being able to, I think the best way to protect it is to identify it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. When was the last time you created something just because you wanted to?
flowers the other day, but I love flowers.
Like
Just
making arrangements?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh my God, that brings me life. It brings me so much joy.
Do you like go to the...
I go to the farmer's market on Sundays, Brentwood Farmer's Market, and just pick the freshest flowers, and they just bring life. But for me, it's that creative outlet where it's like, I'm not getting paid. It's ain't a job. This is just something, and May Jones loves it too.
How important is it for you to have outlets of creativity that don't have pressure connected to it?
So much. That's where I thrive. Because it's like when you are in these spaces and you're working, you understand there's a different level of pressure, if you will. But then when you're doing it freely, there's just so much freedom. And it grows that little inner child in me too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I know that I need those creative moments. Because then I noticed I started resenting some of my work.
Yeah, right. That has been my vow with writing. I love writing so much that I'm like, I will never write just to write a book or just to get the check, because writing is so sacred to me. So it'll be like years sometimes before I have anything to write, but I have to protect it, because you will start resenting the work.
And I noticed that. I noticed that I started resenting a little bit of when I was writing, was finishing up, and then now with Natalie. And I had to be honest with God, like, I'm actually angry. I'm actually bitter. This is actually burning me out.
Yeah.
And I'm not having as much fun anymore. But I realized it was just because I wasn't being able to be creative in other spaces. But we're good now.
Yeah, that's good.
We're good now.
But because sometimes you think that burnout is a sign that I need to quit it. But burnout for me has been a sign of like, I need boundaries. I need to change the way that I'm doing it, or I need to make sure that I have breaks in between.
Exactly. And I think for me, it was all of that. I need breaks in between. This is not your God.
Yeah.
Put this down, like release this, surrender this. And then the boundaries in place. Like, actually, it's 5 o'clock. We don't need to continue to do this, And I think too, when you get so caught up in the results and wanting everything to be okay, you then begin to jeopardize or compromise yourself in it, because you want to please, like we talked about, others of the world. And then that's when it was like, once I got free from that, I was like, okay, I'm not doing it this way anymore. I'm going to just do it Kingdom's way. Because when going back to the conversation earlier, when I was doing it Culture's way, that's when I got in trouble. That's when I got in trouble, where I was burnt out, when I was resentful. Yeah. Because I wasn't seeing the Culture's results. I was seeing the Kingdom's results, but I wasn't seeing Culture's results. So that's where all of that bitter, anger, resentment, and then we had to unwork that.
I think that we need those moments. If anyone is creating content, you need the moments where it doesn't go viral. You need the moments where it doesn't hit, where the numbers don't line up, because it makes you question whether or not you produced it so that it could go viral, or if you produced it because you believe the message was important. And when you believe the message is important, it will reach who it's meant to reach, even if it's 50 people. It's not the one that does millions and millions of views. It's the one that does a few things and that person says, this really meant something to me, and to honor that it was about that person and not necessarily about the numbers.
Bang, bang, bang. And that's where I had to find the freedom. Because after I did film season 1, I was anchored in all of that. Yeah. I was anchored in external validation, looking for it to satisfy this internal longing. Yeah. And as we know, that's just simply from aligning that way. But you're so right. And once I got that, I was like, oh, okay, if this impacts one, I've done enough. Yeah. One, I've done enough. Everything else is up to God. It ain't on me no more, Yeah. So. Okay,
one last question before we go.
Yeah.
If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? One.
Is it appetizers, meal, and dessert?
No, girl.
Oh my gosh.
Girl.
One, probably enchiladas, Mexican food.
Okay. Chicken
enchiladas.
Chicken enchilada.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I like Mexican food.
What kind of sauce are we putting on top of it?
Some green sauce.
Period.
Some green sauce.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for taking this time with me.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing in my mama trauma.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for having me. What an honor it is to sit here. Honestly, thank you for trusting me. Real talk.
My pleasure. Thank you. Make it easy. Your heart's pure.
Thank you.
There were so many things that Natalie said in this week's episode that I just felt like were so open, honest, and vulnerable. Shout out to the women who are raising young women or around young women who remind them so much of themselves. And you're just trying to keep that fire alive, but also just, you know what I mean? Just a little, just, you know what I mean? Just a little dotting. No, you can't dot that. You know what I mean? But just a little something. You want to just rough them up, but not rough them up, but just shake, but not shake them. You know what I mean? Just a little bit. But anyways, I am so grateful for your honesty, for your transparency. There were just so many moments in this conversation about what it means to truly trust God with your life that resonated with me. And I know it's going to resonate with so many of you listening at home. It's my honor and my privilege to sit down with you, my sis. Make sure you subscribe to her podcast. And while you're at it, make sure you go on and subscribe to ours, rate it, leave a review, share it with your friends. I love you all so much. And I just want to pray right now for the women who are out here. And boy, they're trying to lead and heal all at the same time. They're leading themselves, they're leading their families, they're leading their children. And sometimes the girls are tired. We are the girls. Lord, please meet us. Allow your spirit, your presence to rest on us, to remind us that first we are children before we are mothers, to remind us that first we need healing before we can be a vessel for someone else's healing. Lord, I ask that you would search our hearts, search our ways, and help us to see the areas where we have grown, that we can be affirmed in our ability to overcome pre-existing barriers of development. And yet here we are, further than we ever thought that we would be. May we cling to that and hold on to it as we step into the next season of unknown. God, bless the women who are listening to this podcast and the fellas, because we know they be listening too. Lead them as only you can. Guide them. In Jesus' name, amen.